The city of Joburg is trying to recover billions it is owed in municipal services. The city wants to recover more than 38 billion rand from some businesses, government departments and residents. Sandton City is among those who owe the city and is now at loggerheads with the City of Johannesburg over a bill that amounts to nearly 200 million rand. A similar campaign is also ongoing in the city of Tshwane, where several businesses, including government departments and the Sheraton Hotel, were in the firing line. Has the city, though, managed to get some of its outstanding monies? Let's speak now to MMC Sun, who's the City of Johannesburg's MMC for Environment and Infrastructure Services. Thank you so much for your time, MMC. We saw today, of course, a very busy day with the mayor there going from business to business as you're owed. And we saw also a similar operation that has been unfolding in the city of Tshwane. Talk to us about today. Have you achieved the desired result?
Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity. Maybe I could just clarify how the city functions. That although the Department of Environment, Infrastructure and Service, which is I'm the MMC of, it oversees the city power in Johannesburg water. The billing and the revenue department falls under the Department of Finance, overseen by my colleague MMC Julie Sadabi. So it is a very concerning situation for the city. We are struggling to get payment out of businesses, big businesses, governments, national owned entities. And as you've said earlier on, we're looking to recover 38 billion rand. That's an astronomical amount, for any municipality. I think even for the country, to having to bear as an outstanding debt. We are beginning to see a bit of progress. Of course, I believe some of the businesses have come forward. I don't have the exact amounts that they have been paid. As I've said earlier on, they would go to the Department of Finance for that. But certainly we would want those legitimately owing to the City of Johannesburg to please come forward. It's never nice for us to cut any services to our customers. But when the push comes to shove, we will have to do what needs to be done.
Now, MMC, one of the things that the Municipal Act says is that the collection of rates and services, charges and other taxes is also a critical part of a municipality's duties, and it is vital to establish a system, of course, that also creates a positive as well as a reciprocal relationship between customers as well as the municipality or even the service provider. Listening to what you're saying, it sounds like for the reason that you had to take this drastic step, this reciprocal part that this Municipal Act is talking about, it doesn't seem to be working.
Well, let me understand your question, and I think my response would be given in an example. We buy electricity from Eskom. Eskom is our major supplier. We buy water from Red Water. So in incurring those expenses, city must generate income in order for us to go buy those services so we can distribute to our residents. So you can imagine when those reciprocal relationship it's kept at a one way, where we keep on having to incur expenses to buy those electricity and water supply, distribute them to the residents and customers, but we don't get paid. Eventually we're going to run into the red. And it is a very unhealthy situation for the city, because we are dependent and reliant on this income to provide other services. We need to fix the roads, we need to fix the broken street lights, we need to replace aging infrastructure in terms of electricity and water. The residents are very unhappy with us recently because there are these continuous outages. And I'm not going to shy away from it and say that, yes, we are working towards, replacing those aging old technology that's been buried under the ground, but we need the monies to do it. Unless we get paid by the residents and the responsible corporates, the city simply will not be able to do so. So again, it's a request. We are humbly requesting our residents, our customers, our businesses to please know this is our city. It's not the government city. So we all need to do our part to ensure that the city has a very healthy financial status going forward.
Some are claiming, as we saw earlier on, that, especially a company like Sala Pension Fund, for example, they say that they're paying, a managing agent and they don't know anything about these particular letters of demand and they never saw them and all of that. I wonder what kind of agreement do you then reach with such parties, or is it simply a case of you tell them to go and speak directly to these managing agents?
It was quite disappointing. In fact, I was on scene when we were at that first site with the South African Local Authorities Pension Fund. The gentleman came out to speak to us, and of course his reasoning was that they pay over to the managing agent. And whilst we were engaging with him and trying to locate the water outlet or the inlet valve, I got a call from one of the advocates in the building to ask me what is happening, what's happening with all these people in the building. So he also claims that they pay rental, they pay their fair share of the utility services to the building management, I assume, or the landlord. But then, unfortunately, the innocent tenant have to suffer. And unfortunately, this would be the situation going forward where there is a managing agent. So our suggestion would be for the landowners or the tenants to please engage with the property management urgently to ensure that whatever expenses they've paid over to the management company are actually being paid over to the city. And of course, if there are any dispute in terms of accounts or amounts or meter readings, we welcome them with open arms to say, please do come and try to reconcile the accounts with us. There's a team at the Revenue Department that will assist with our residents. But, some of the customers and owners simply just adopted the attitude that we are not going to pay and we'll wait for the disconnection, and it's going to happen. It is going to happen. It's not that we do it, with a smile on our faces, but like I said, we have to do that to ensure the healthy financial status of the city.
MMC, very briefly, we're almost out of time. The dispute you currently have with Sandton City, should they not pay because their pre-termination notice is until the 26th? Should they not pay, are you going to be cutting them off?
Yes, they still have a grace period in terms of the pre-termination notice. I think it lapses next week sometimes. But I just want to clarify the pre-termination notice is that it is not a necessity but a courtesy. So the monthly statements and accounts that the customers get, that is the actual payment document. So of course, when we pick up the customers are not paying, we're going to send out a courtesy notice and say that unless you pay, your services will be disconnected. So that is really where things stand. So that situation with Sandton City, I certainly hope that it will be resolved amicably before the termination notice elapses. And again, we are making the call to say that please do come forward if you have any concerns. I'm sure my colleagues at the Department of Finance at the city will be more than happy to resolve.
In 20 seconds, listening to what you're saying, that businesses must come forward if they've got any problems. As you're cutting them off, have you taken into account the fact that we're coming out, in fact, we're still in a pandemic and some of the businesses have lost monies and not being able to then provide, and some of them having to cut some of the jobs. Are you also taking this into account?
We've looked at this from all angles. And of course, some of the sensitive customers, as we call them, the hospitals, the clinics, we'll make, whatever possibilities, or other programs available to assist those customers. But it is those customers that are able to pay, they can afford to pay, and the accounts are in arrears that we'll then go and say, this is your last chance, please do pay up, otherwise you're coming to disconnect.